private prisons have long been a subject of intense debate and controversy. Advocates argue that these facilities offer cost-effective solutions to overcrowding in government-operated prisons, while critics argue that they prioritize profit over the well-being of inmates. To fully understand this contentious issue, let's examine the arguments presented by both sides. Proponents of private prisons claim that these institutions bring about significant cost savings. They argue that the profit-driven nature of private companies incentivizes efficiency and innovation in managing correctional facilities. By reducing administrative overheads and increasing operational flexibility, private prisons allegedly offer a more cost-effective alternative to their public or counterparts. These cost savings, proponents argue, can then be redirected towards other essential public services and programs. However, critics raise serious concerns about the role of profit motives in private prisons. They argue that the primary objective of these facilities should be the rehabilitation and well-being of inmates rather than generating profit for shareholders. Critics contend that the drive for profit leads to various unethical practices, such as cutting corners on healthcare, education, and rehabilitation programs. Moreover, the profit-oriented nature of private prisons creates a perverse incentive to maintain high inmate populations and lobby for stricter sentencing laws, exacerbating issues of mass incarceration. Another concern raised by opponents of private prisons is the lack of transparency and accountability. Unlike publicly owned prisons, private correctional facilities operate as for-profit entities shielded from public scrutiny. Critics argue that this lack of transparency makes it difficult to assess the conditions within these prisons and hold accountable those responsible for any violation of inmates' rights. Additionally, the contracts between private prison companies and government agencies often include occupancy rate clauses that guarantee a minimum number of incarcerated individuals, which critics believe contributes to the perpetuation of mass incarceration. Beyond the ethical concerns, opponents of private prisons also question their effectiveness in reducing recidivism rates. Critics argue that the profit-oriented model of these prisons prioritizes cutting costs over investing in rehabilitation programs, proven to reduce reoffending. By focusing on punitive measures without adequately addressing the root causes of criminal behavior, private facilities may fail to fulfill their societal obligations of preparing inmates for successful reintegration into communities. Consequently, critics argue that public funds would be better spent on strengthening public rehabilitation programs and support services. Proponents, however, contend that private prisons are more adaptable to implementing innovative and evidence-based programs due to their flexibility and autonomy. They argue that private companies have the freedom to utilize cutting-edge technologies, collaboration with academic institutions, and engage in outcome-oriented approaches to reduce recidivism rates. Proponents also advocate that competition among private prison operators fosters a drive for excellence, encouraging facilities to constantly improve their methods and outcomes. In conclusion, the debate surrounding private prisons is complex and multifaceted. While proponents argue that these facilities offer cost-effective solutions to the challenges of mass incarceration, critics raise valid concerns about prioritization of profit over inmate well-being, lack of transparency, and questionable impact on recidivism rates. As society grapples with the implications of privately operated correctional facilities, a balanced and informed discussion is essential to guide policy decisions that best serve the interests of justice, the incarcerated population, and the public.